There exists a kind of person born with a strong wish to live completely true to their inner self. They are not able to pretend, cannot give love that is only halfway, and will not settle for relationships that just fill an empty space. For these people, truth matters more than feeling comfortable. Love, if it does not reach the deepest parts of their being, is better left alone. Yet, it is exactly this quality that makes them feel like outsiders. Sometimes they question if something is wrong with them. Is their need to be selective holding them back? Carl Jung would say, this is not a punishment. He understood that these special souls cannot love in usual ways. Before they can enter a truly honest relationship, the universe will guide them through many difficult lessons. Every moment of being alone, every meeting with the wrong person, every time their self-importance is broken, is a step on the path of spiritual growth. And if you have ever felt unnoticed while others find love, then perhaps you are one of these special souls. So what is the universe really doing with people like you before sending you the right person? In this discussion, we will explore the secrets of the universe using the ideas of Carl Jung, and stay until the finish, because the answer will change how you see yourself and love. The breaking away from society's usual ways. There is a period that every special soul must go through before finding real love. A seemingly endless period of being alone, not chosen but forced, as if you have been pulled out of the common flow of people. While friends around you get married, start families, and post happy pictures online, you sit there looking at the emptiness inside and wondering, why can't I feel like they do? Why does something so simple for others feel like an impossible puzzle for me? Carl Jung called this the separation from the collective unconscious. This is a state where your inner self is made to break away from the shared patterns of society, family, and culture. It is when you can no longer live by the pre-written rules for love, no longer finding satisfaction in the common story that most people accept. If ordinary people can start relationships because they fear being lonely, feel social pressure, or want stability, special souls feel these choices are a betrayal of themselves. For them, being alone is better than living in an empty bond. Imagine being at a crowded event. Everyone is smiling, drinking, looking closely at each other. You smile, but inside there is only nothingness. It is not that you do not want love. It is that you realize you cannot speak the same language as the connections happening around you. Every light-hearted exchange sounds like a copy of 1,000 others. Every date feels like the same script played again. And there you sit, feeling both present and missing. This is the cutting off from society's usual ways. You are no longer carried along by the normal patterns of love, but are placed in a lonely new place, forced to face the question, what do I truly want in a relationship? This is a painful experience. This separation often brings a feeling of being flawed. You look around and see others changing themselves to fit in. They lower their expectations, change their requirements, or just stop asking questions. They find an imperfect partner and choose to accept it. In your view, it seems they have solved the puzzle you are still struggling with. This can easily lead you to believe something is wrong with you, that your pickiness, your awareness, or the depth of your inner world is the reason you stay adrift. In truth, this is not a weakness. It is a sign of a journey of growth. Jung pointed out that to become truly human, we must learn to separate from what the group demands. This process is hard because it means losing the comfort of the majority, the safety of being like everyone else. It is like a young bird leaving the nest, facing a vast and scary sky. But without flying, it would never learn what its wings were meant for. In real life, this separation from society's usual ways can show up in many forms. A young person says no to the safe marriage arranged by their family, even though everyone insists it is the right choice. A woman in her 30s leaves a 7-year relationship because she realizes the love in it has gone, even though friends call her foolish. A middle-aged man chooses to stay single rather than continue meaningless dates, even as others say, at your age you should hold on to whatever you can get. On the surface, they seem out of step, moving against the tide, but in reality, they are living true to an inner demand, a demand that will not let them give up their soul for the sake of security. This separation also brings another strange situation: loneliness in a crowd. This is not the loneliness of having no one nearby, but the feeling of being cut off in a sea of people. For Jung, this is a key step. Only when you realize you do not fit into the common shapes can you begin to look for your true self. But why is this loneliness needed before you find real love? Because if you have never been forced to stand alone, you will never learn to tell the difference between your real wants and those society has taught you. While others find love to meet family wishes, get social approval, or avoid emptiness, you are compelled to face the question, why do I want love? Is it from a fear of being left behind, or from a deep desire to share the most honest truth of yourself? From a mind and soul view, this is the time where your awareness begins to separate from the group to form an independent self. Jung believed that many never get this far. They choose to mix in, letting their personal lives fade into the collective unconscious. But special souls have no such choice. For them, giving up is a form of betrayal. Thus, their loneliness is not a time of being forgotten, but a spiritual cleaning, a process where all false show, borrowed beliefs, and group dreams are stripped away to show the core longing. This is why many special souls go through long periods of belonging to no one. They cannot fake a smile during a boring date or stay in a relationship just because it feels safe, and they blame themselves for it. But through Jung's view, you will see this is the first step of becoming an individual. The universe is pulling you away from the noise so you can hear the purest voice inside. The key in this time is not to run from loneliness, but to learn to be okay with it. To realize that loneliness is not proof of a fault, but proof of your difference. You are lonely not because you are less valuable, but because you carry a higher standard. You are not forgotten. You are being made pure like gold that must go through fire to shine. Your inner self must pass through being alone from the crowd to become itself. And one day, you will look back on this journey and realize if you had not walked alone, you would never have learned to recognize real love when it showed up. This separation allows you to tell the difference between a deep connection and a simple false hope. This emptiness makes you sensitive enough to feel the presence of a like-minded person rather than losing yourself in shallow touches. The cutting off from society's usual ways is the hard but needed first step. It is as if you are forced to remove the mask society wears, standing alone with your true face. And from that moment, your path toward love truly begins. Meeting the reflection. The awakening of the inner male, female. After the long, empty period of loneliness, the universe often sends a notable figure, a person who makes you feel a thrill right away, someone you think has finally put your soul into the language of the human world. But according to Jung, this is not yet true love. This is the appearance of the anima or animus, the inner female or inner male. In other words, you are not falling in love with them. You are falling in love with the hidden part of yourself reflected through them. In Jungian thought, the anima animus is the missing complementary part of our soul. For a man, the anima is the feminine side he still needs to bring into himself, gentleness, instinct, and feeling. For a woman, the animus is the masculine side, not yet fully realized, sense, strength, and decisiveness. When someone appears who shows these matching qualities, we are immediately attracted to them, as if seeing the missing piece of our soul. This is a natural process, but it is also full of risk as it creates the false idea of a destined love, when in reality it is only an unconscious reflection. This feeling often seems almost magical. Someone enters your life and suddenly the long quiet of the universe turns into music. You recognize in them qualities your heart has long wished for: sensitivity, strength, creativity, depth. They speak a few words, and it feels as though those words are what you have been waiting to hear forever. There is a strange sense of being in tune that makes you believe you have known them before, maybe even in another life. Yet this is the subtle trick of the unconscious mind. You are not recognizing a twin soul, but facing the projection of your inner self. Think of this: you stand in front of a mirror. The reflection is not another person, but simply your own image. Yet because the mirror is so clear, you believe it is a separate thing. When someone starts your animus, they become a living mirror. You see in them the qualities you desperately want in yourself. And because you have not recognized this yet, you mistake it for love for them, when in truth you are loving the unrealized part of yourself. In daily life, this happens often but is frequently confused with love at first sight. I remember a young woman who shared her story. She was very shy, especially afraid of making important decisions on her own. Throughout her youth, she let others choose for her field of study, her job, and even her relationships. Then one day, she met a man with a strong presence, a decided look, and a decisive way of speaking. After only a few meetings, she was sure he was the one she had been looking for. In her eyes, his strength was not only attractive, but also a shield for her inner fears. Yet after some time together, she realized he did not truly understand her, nor could he provide the spiritual friendship her heart craved. He was just a normal person with strengths and faults, not the perfect ideal she had placed onto him. This disappointment led her to realize what she had loved was not completely him, but the decisiveness she longed for in herself. The issue is not that this attraction is fake. In fact, it is very real, so strong that many believe this is the right person. But the hard truth is, such relationships often do not last. Love built on projection is likely to fall apart when you realize the other person is not the perfect type you imagined. They too have faults, hidden issues, and parts that do not fit, and when the illusion disappears, the disappointment can be as deep as an empty hole. Jung stressed that this encounter is not about finding your soulmate, but about becoming aware of the missing parts of yourself. The animus is not just an outside image. It is a reminder that you need to bring those qualities into your inner life. If a man is captured by a woman's sensitivity, it means he needs to learn to connect with his own gentleness rather than relying on someone else to fill that space. If a woman is drawn to a man's strength, it is a sign she needs to awaken her own decisiveness, not simply hold on to someone for safety. Here is the surprising truth. The love you feel at this moment is largely love for yourself, for the unrealized potential calling out to you. The other person is merely a messenger sent by the universe, like a mirror to show you the unintegrated shadow of your soul. It is a gift, but if you mistake it for forever love, you will fall into a pattern of disappointment and dependence. When you go through this phase with awareness, you stop seeing the other person as your savior. Instead, you become grateful for their role in helping you see the missing shadow of your soul. You begin to build those qualities within yourself. And from there, you move closer to the ability to love a real person, not because they reflect you, but because you see them as they truly are. Self-sabotage, the resistance from the shadow. This is when the shadow, the unconscious part holding all your fears, hurts, doubts, and self-protection methods, begins to rise. And the strange thing is this: the shadow often stays quiet in wrong relationships, but bursts out strongly when you are close to touching what you have always wanted. You can think of it like a person held captive for years. When the door to freedom finally opens, instead of running out, they hesitate, even retreating into the familiar darkness. Freedom terrifies them because they have grown used to chains. True love is the same. When someone truly right for you enters your life, someone who can see you as you are, instead of opening your heart, you suddenly find many reasons to pull away. You start questioning, are they truly honest? Is this just another illusion? Will I be hurt again like before? And in that moment, you unconsciously become the destroyer of your own chance. In mind and soul study, this is called self-sabotage, hurting the very thing you desire most. Jung explained that the shadow does not just hold bad things, it is also the storage place for the parts of yourself you have not dared to face. When true love appears, it demands that you open the darkest rooms within yourself, and it is this demand that causes the shadow's fight. It whispers doubts, plants fear, and builds invisible walls. Her shadow, heavy with memories of past hurts, caused her to destroy the love just as it began to grow. The shadow acts like a guard. It hates change, for change means the collapse of long-held defense methods. It whispers, don't trust them. Don't let anyone touch that pain. Don't take the risk because risking means you could lose everything. But it is this very defense that makes you lose what is most precious. Instead of living in an honest relationship, you are trapped in a cycle of your own fears. What makes this phase so difficult is its subtlety. Self-sabotage is not always as clear as ending a relationship. Sometimes it is small actions, delaying a response to a message, setting unreasonable tests for the other person, or pretending not to care to see if they will stay. You think you are testing their love, but in reality, your shadow is in control, turning you into an endless challenger. True love is like sunlight. It is warm, gentle, but it also shows the dust you have hidden in the dark. Others may compliment your clean room, but when sunlight shines in, every tiny bit of dust becomes visible. At that moment, you have two choices: clean the room to make it truly spotless, or close the curtains to pretend the dust does not exist. Self-sabotage is choosing to close the curtains, rejecting the light, and continuing to live in familiar darkness. This is why many say they are not ready, even when they meet someone worthy. In truth, it is not that they are not ready for love. They are not ready to face their shadow. True love always comes with responsibility, the responsibility to take off your armor, show your weaknesses, and accept that you might get hurt. It is a dangerous jump, but it is also the only jump that can lead to truth. From a treatment view, this is a critical moment. If you realize that your self-sabotaging actions are not your faulty nature, but only the voice of your shadow, you can begin to change. Recognition is the first step. Instead of believing every doubt in your mind, you learn to ask, is this my instinct or just the old darkness speaking? Only by asking this question do you get the chance to choose a different answer, breaking the old pattern. Jung called this confronting the shadow. Not to destroy it, but to bring it into yourself. To realize that fear does not vanish, but you no longer let it steer the ship of your life. If you have ever wondered why you keep accidentally pushing love away, know that it is not a punishment, but a reminder. You have not failed at love. You are merely in a battle with your shadow. And each time you recognize this, each time you pause before destroying something good, each time you bravely stay instead of running, you take a step closer to true love. Inner rebuilding. As you start to see the shadow and learn not to let it ruin precious connections, a more subtle challenge appears. If the shadow means fearful fighting back, the next step is a complete change. The universe asks not only that you heal your hurts, but that you rebuild your entire inner world. This is no longer about stopping love from being destroyed, but about learning to become a new person, a version of yourself that is completely honest. Jung called this process individuation. the hard but necessary journey to become your true self, no longer a product of society, family, or the past. If facing the shadow is like cleaning a dusty, dark room, inner rebuilding is about tearing down the entire old house and building its foundation again. You are not just removing a few shaky walls. You realize the original plan of the house was never right to hold your soul. To create a strong base for true love, you must redesign from the ground up with honesty, awareness, and courage. In reality, this rebuilding often shows up as changes that seem strange. Some suddenly leave a stable but dull job. Others cut off ties with long-time but unhealthy friendships. Some let go of lifelong family roles, the obedient child, the giving sibling, the overly responsible caregiver, to rediscover their true self. These choices often confuse those around them. Why stop? Why change so fast? Why not keep going as before? But for the person going through this, it feels like survival. Staying within the old structures is like slowly dying in silence. Jung warned that one of the most subtle traps for special souls is turning pain into identity. We tell ourselves, I'm special because I'm hard to love. I'm profound because I'm always misunderstood. I'm worthy because I've suffered more. In truth, this is how we hold on to the shadow to avoid stepping into the light. Inner rebuilding means daring to let go of even the noble story of pain. No longer using loneliness to define yourself. No longer using being different to excuse avoiding close relationships. It is a deeply painful letting go, for sometimes we love our hurts more than the chance of healing. From a mind and soul view, this is the time where the self-importance faces its biggest test. The false identities built since childhood, the good child to earn parent love, the achiever for social approval, the outsider to feel unique, begin to fall apart. In their place emerges a raw, unhidden self, no roles, no awards, no masks, and you must ask, if I am not all those things, who am I? This question can cause panic, but it also prepares the way for freedom. The most important part of this phase is not how to find love, but how to live true to your own truth. For true love can only grow on a foundation of authenticity. If you have not made peace with that truth, every relationship you build will crumble under the weight of pretense. Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." But that is exactly what sets you free. As you move through this rebuilding, something amazing happens. Your energy changes. You no longer need to impress, fear being left, or seek outside approval. You enter a room without looking for someone who fits you. You become complete in your own presence. And that energy, the energy of being authentic, begins to draw people, chances, and relationships that match it. Inner rebuilding is never easy. It may cost you things you once thought were everything, but in return, it gives you yourself, complete, strong, and true. Only then are you ready for the final step, the strange surrender, where you stop seeking love and, in doing so, unexpectedly find it. Surrender to life. If inner rebuilding is about taking down the old house to build a strong foundation, the final step is the most difficult paradox. When you have become your true self, the universe demands that you let go of the very desire that drove you all along, the desire to find love. This is not about giving up on love, but letting go of the intense craving for it. So you no longer seek it as a condition for feeling complete. This is when you enter a state of surrender, not defeat, but complete acceptance, where you stop holding on and allow life to unfold naturally. Many misunderstand surrender as giving up. If I stop searching, it means I've lost hope. But Jung would argue the opposite. Only when you release desperate longing are you free enough to recognize that love was always right here. It is like a swimmer underwater. The more they struggle in fear, the deeper they sink. But when they relax their body, they float to the top. Love is the same. The more you chase it, the further it goes away. The more you let go, the more it has a chance to find you. In mind treatment, there is a concept called paradoxical intention. It describes how the more you try to control something, the more you fail. But when you surrender, it resolves naturally. For example, a person with sleeplessness who forces themselves to sleep grows more worried and sleepless. Only when they accept it is okay to stay awake does sleep come. In love, the same rule applies. When you stop making love the goal, it becomes reality. Surrender also means changing the reason for love from seeking someone to fill a hole to wanting to share your wholeness. This is the basic difference. When you seek love for validation, you enter relationships as a person who lacks something, attracting situations that reflect that lack. But when you step out of surrender, you no longer need love to complete you. You are complete, and love becomes an addition, not a salvation. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Surrender is living that privilege. You no longer use love to define yourself or see someone's presence as proof of your value. Instead, you live in completeness. And love, if it comes, is a gift, not a need for survival. The greatest paradox is this: only when you no longer need love are you truly ready for it. Only when you stop searching can you see it was always around you. Thinking about this journey, you may realize love is never just a story between two people. It is a journey of the soul, a path the universe uses to teach you about yourself. Every challenge, every meeting, every moment of heartbreak or awakening is not random. They are markers for your growth, for your heart to learn to see with new eyes, no longer blinded by fear, but lit up by truth. The strange thing is, when you stop seeing love as a place to get to and start living in your inherent wholeness, the world becomes easier. You no longer struggle to search or rush to prove yourself. You simply exist. And in that presence, love finds you quietly, surely, as if it had been waiting for you all along.